Commander Alan White rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the screen for the fifth time that day. The strange objects had appeared near Jupiter 3 days ago. They moved in ways that no human ships could move. They were not from Earth. "Play it again," he said to the young officer beside him. The video showed 3 oval-shaped craft gliding smoothly around Jupiter's moon Europa. They left no engine trails. They changed direction without slowing down. Most importantly, they had not responded to any messages from Earth. "Sir, what do you think they want?" asked Lieutenant Sam Green, his voice barely hiding his fear. Alan shook his head. "I don't know. But they're watching us. That much is clear." The underground room at the Pentagon was packed with military officers and scientists. Maps of the solar system covered the walls. On the main screen, red dots showed the positions of the unknown ships. Dr. Olivia Grant walked up to Alan with a tablet in her hand. Her face was serious. "Commander, we've detected energy waves coming from those ships. They're scanning everything in our system: planets, moons, our satellites, and Earth itself." Alan nodded slowly. "So they're gathering information about us?" "Yes," Olivia said. "These aren't random explorers who happen to find us. They're here with a purpose." General Frank Martinez banged his fist on the table, making everyone jump. "They're scouts. This is what happens before an invasion. First, they send small ships to check us out. Then the big fleet comes." The room fell silent. Humans had dreamed of meeting aliens for centuries, but no one had expected it to happen like this, with strange ships silently watching from the darkness of space. Alan's phone rang. It was the president. "White here," he answered. "Commander," said the calm voice of President Gloria Martinez, "I need you in the Situation Room now. One of the alien ships has broken off from the others. It's heading straight for Earth." Alan's heart raced as he hurried through the hallways of the Pentagon. In the Situation Room, 20 of the most powerful people on Earth sat around a large table. Their faces showed a mix of fear and determination. On the big screen, a small dot moved quickly toward Earth. It would arrive in less than 2 days. "Ladies and gentlemen," the president said, "we need to decide how to respond. Do we treat this as a peaceful visit or a threat?" The room erupted in argument. Some wanted to shoot the ship down. Others wanted to welcome the aliens with open arms. Alan remained quiet, studying the ship's flight path. It was coming directly toward the United Nations building in New York. That couldn't be random. The aliens knew exactly where the world's leaders gathered. "Madam President," Alan finally spoke, silencing the room. "These aliens have been watching us for days, maybe longer. They know our languages, our customs, our power centers. This isn't first contact for them, only for us." President Martinez nodded. "And your recommendation, Commander?" "We prepare for both peace and war," Alan said firmly. "We show them we're open to friendship, but we also quietly ready our defenses. And most importantly, we don't let them know everything we're capable of." The president looked around the room. "Commander White makes a good point. Let's not show all our cards at once." She turned to Alan. "Commander, given your background in both diplomacy and military strategy, I'm appointing you as our first contact specialist." Alan swallowed hard. The weight of humanity's future suddenly rested on his shoulders. "The alien ship will arrive in 46 hours, the president continued. "I suggest you start preparing immediately." As Alan left the room, his mind raced with questions. Who were these visitors? What did they want? And most importantly, were they friends or enemies? The next 2 days would change human history forever. The alien ship landed exactly where Commander Alan White had predicted, in the large open plaza in front of the United Nations building in New York. It made no sound as it touched down, a smooth silver oval about the size of a small bus. Thousands of people watched from behind barriers set up by the military. Alan stood at the front of the human welcome party. Next to him were President Gloria Martinez, Dr. Olivia Grant, and representatives from 20 major nations. His palms were sweaty despite the cool morning air. "Remember," he whispered to the group, "show respect, but not fear." A seam appeared in the side of the ship. It widened into a doorway, glowing with soft blue light. 3 tall figures stepped out. The aliens were nearly 7 feet tall with silvery skin that reflected the sunlight. They had no hair, and their eyes were large and multifaceted, like those of an insect. They wore simple gray suits that seemed to move with them like liquid. The middle alien raised a small device to its throat and spoke. A mechanical voice came out in perfect English. "We are the Korathi. We come as representatives of the Galactic Harmony." President Martinez stepped forward. "On behalf of Earth, we welcome you." The lead alien's eyes shifted, reflecting different colors as it looked around. "Your welcome is noted. We request immediate assembly of your world leaders to receive our message." Within 3 hours, the United Nations Assembly Hall was filled with leaders from every nation. The event was broadcast live to billions of people around the world. Alan sat behind the president, watching the aliens closely. The lead Korathi stood at the center of the hall. "We have observed your species for one of your Earth years. The Galactic Harmony controls 5,000 star systems. We bring order and progress to primitive species." The room grew tense at the word primitive. "Earth has been selected for incorporation into the Harmony," the alien continued. "Your resources are valuable. Your genetic material is useful. This is an honor." President Martinez leaned forward. "And what exactly does incorporation mean?" The alien's voice remained flat through the translator. "Your planet will be divided into resource zones. Humans will be relocated to designated living areas. You will serve as a client species, providing labor and genetic samples. In return, you will receive basic needs and protection." The room erupted in angry shouts. The alien seemed unmoved. "This is not a request," it stated. "This is notification. Our scans show your military capabilities are primitive. Resistance would result in unnecessary damage." Alan watched as world leaders argued among themselves. Some wanted to fight. Others thought surrender might be the only way to survive. Later, in a private meeting room, Alan met with the President and Dr. Liz Rivera, the Secretary of Defense. "They're talking about slavery," Liz said angrily, dressed up in nice words. "But that's what it is." Alan nodded, but noticed something important. They mentioned scans of our military. "They're showing their hand." The president looked confused. "What do you mean?" "They've only seen what we've allowed them to see," Alan explained. "Their scouts haven't detected our hidden facilities. They don't know about Project Guardian Shield." Liz smiled slightly. "They think we're defenseless." "Exactly," Alan said. "And that's our advantage." The alien leader had given Earth 7 days to prepare for incorporation. The Korathi returned to their ship, confident in their superior position. That night, Alan received clearance to access the highest security level of the Pentagon. He descended in an elevator that required 5 different scans to operate. 100 floors below ground, the doors opened to reveal an enormous control center. General Patricia Warren greeted him. "Welcome to the real heart of Earth's defense, Commander." Screens showed hidden military bases around the world. Maps displayed secret weapons platforms in orbit. Numbers showed the true size of humanity's fighting force. "How much of this do the aliens know about?" Alan asked. General Warren smiled. "Nothing. Absolutely nothing." "Then we have a chance," Alan said quietly. "They have no idea what they're up against." The morning after meeting the Korathi, Commander Alan White led 3 alien observers on a tour of what he called Earth's primary military installation. In reality, it was an outdated naval base in Virginia that had been prepared specifically for this visit. "This is one of our largest aircraft carriers," Alan explained as they walked along the deck of the U.S. Liberty. The massive ship was impressive by human standards, but the aliens seemed unimpressed. The tallest Korathi, who called himself Observer Zex, touched the metal of a fighter jet with his long, thin fingers. Combustion engines. You still use fossil fuels for war machines. It's what we have, Alan replied, trying to sound disappointed. Our scientists are working on better technology, but progress is slow. Observer Zex made a clicking sound that the translator didn't catch. His multifaceted eyes shifted colors as he scanned the weapon systems. Projectile weapons, he noted, looking at the missile launchers. Primitive targeting systems. No energy shields. He turned to Alan. Your species is brave to resist with such limited tools. Alan bowed his head as if ashamed. We understand our disadvantage. But humans value freedom above all else. While this carefully staged tour continued, a very different scene was unfolding deep beneath the Antarctic ice. Commander Susan Kelly stood in a massive underground hangar that stretched for miles in every direction. Hundreds of advanced aircraft lined the floor, unlike anything the public had ever seen. All systems check complete, reported her assistant. Guardian Shield facilities worldwide report ready status. Susan nodded. Begin sequence Alpha. Wake the sleeping giants. Across Earth, hidden facilities rumble to life. In the Amazon rainforest, what appeared to be an ordinary stretch of jungle split open to reveal a launch bay. Beneath the Sahara Desert, cooling systems activated around massive energy reactors. In the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean, underwater hangars opened their massive doors. On the far side of the moon, completely hidden from Earth and alien observers, Admiral Doug Harrison watched as thousands of crew members boarded ships that had been built in secret over the past 30 years. Status report, he commanded. Lunar fleet at 100% readiness. Admiral, came the response. All 500 vessels crewed and armed. Doug smiled grimly. The aliens think we can barely reach our own moon. Wait until they see what we've built here. Back on Earth, Alan continued the charade. He showed the aliens outdated tanks and helicopters. He let them inspect basic satellites and radar systems. At every turn, the aliens made little effort to hide their contempt. Your civilization is indeed primitive, Observer Zex concluded as they finished the tour. The Galactic Harmony's assessment was accurate. You have decent arts and culture, but your technology is at least 300 years behind the galactic standard. We are a young species, Alan said humbly. That evening, Alan met with the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the Real Command Center, buried deep underground. They bought it completely, he reported. Operation False Front is working perfectly. The aliens think our most advanced weapon is a nuclear missile. General Patricia Warren smiled. If they only knew what's waiting for them on Mars. What's our true capability assessment? President Martinez asked. Dr. Liz Rivera pulled up a holographic display showing the solar system. We have fully operational bases on the Moon, Mars, and several asteroids. Our fleet counts over 3,000 ships with antimatter drives. Energy shield technology has been standard for 15 years. Our quantum computers can crack their communications in seconds. How did we keep all this secret? Asked a senator who had just been given clearance to know the truth. The world's governments agreed after the first alien signals were detected in 1977. Alan explained. Every space program, every international conflict since then has been partly a cover. We showed the public, and any watching aliens, exactly what we wanted them to see. And now, asked the president. Alan's face turned serious. Now we let them think they've won, right until the moment we show them who they're really dealing with. 6 days had passed since the Quarathi delivered their ultimatum. Tomorrow, Earth would have to give its answer. Accept slavery or face destruction. Commander Alan White stood before the Quarathi ambassador in the United Nations building. His face was calm, but his heart beat fast. Everything depended on the next few minutes. Ambassador Zex, I bring Earth's official response to your offer, Alan said, holding the simple folder. The tall alien's eyes shifted colors as he looked down at Alan. The Galactic Harmony expects a wise decision. Alan handed over the folder. Earth respectfully declined your offer of incorporation. The alien's silvery skin seemed to ripple with surprise. This is unexpected. Your leaders choose destruction over survival. We choose freedom, Alan replied simply. Always. The ambassador's voice became cold through the translator. Very well. Our main battle fleet will arrive within 1 Earth day. You have until then to reconsider. As Alan walked away from the building, he pressed a small button on his watch. A single word was transmitted to military bases around the world. Lazarus. Operation Lazarus Rising had begun. Deep in the Mariana Trench, the ocean floor opened up. Massive submarines rose from hiding places 7 miles beneath the surface. These weren't ordinary submarines. Each was the size of an aircraft carrier and powered by fusion engines. Commander Susan Kelly watched from the control room of the lead vessel. All units surfacing. Weapons systems online. On her screen, 200 advanced submarines broke the surface of oceans worldwide. Each carried missiles that could hit targets in space. In the Siberian wilderness, what looked like endless forests suddenly shifted. The trees were actually cleverly disguised covers. They slid aside to reveal launch pads beneath. Giant rockets stood ready, not with simple warheads, but with space fighters and energy weapons. On the moon, Admiral Doug Harrison gave the order. Open the dark side hangars. Giant doors on the far side of the moon opened for the first time. From orbit, it would look like the moon itself was splitting open. Inside these massive hangars sat hundreds of warships, each armed with weapons the aliens had never seen. Dr. Natalie Chen sat in her command center deep beneath Mount Cheyenne. Around her, technicians activated Earth's most secret weapons. Quantum shields at full power, reported a young officer. Antimatter containment stable. Natalie nodded. Activate the orbital defense grid. In space, what had appeared to be normal communications satellites suddenly transformed. Hidden panels opened to reveal energy weapons and shield generators. Within minutes, Earth was surrounded by a protective net. How long have we had this technology? Asked Ryan Peterson, her assistant. The first prototype antimatter engine was built in 1993, Natalie explained. We've been developing everything in secret while showing the world, and any watching aliens, only our rocket technology. In Antarctica, the largest human military base on Earth powered up. The ice sheet above it was actually a giant door, 3 miles across. As it slid open, hundreds of aircraft rose into the sky. They looked like nothing seen publicly before, sleek, rounded ships that moved without making a sound. Back in Washington, Alan entered the true command center. President Martinez and the military leaders watched as screens showed humanity's hidden arsenal coming to life, all across Earth and the solar system. Is everything ready? The president asked. Almost, Alan replied. The Mars Defense Fleet is moving into position. The Jupiter mining stations are converting to battleships. By tomorrow, when the alien fleet arrives, we'll be fully deployed. General Patricia Warren smiled. I wish I could see their faces when they realize how badly their scouts misjudged us. Alan looked at the screens showing Earth's real military might. They thought they were dealing with a primitive species with a few rockets and nuclear bombs. And instead, the president asked. Instead, Alan said, they're about to meet the most prepared civilization in the galaxy. The Kwarathi battle fleet arrived exactly 24 hours after their final warning. Over 300 ships appeared at the edge of Earth's orbit in a flash of light. Their vessels formed a perfect attack pattern, shaped like an arrow pointed at the heart of humanity's home. In the unified command center, Alan White watched the massive screens as the alien ships were tracked. Next to him, President Martinez and the world's military leaders stood in silence. They've arrived with exactly the force their scouts reported would be needed, Alan said. 327 warships. And how many do we have ready? Asked the president. General Patricia Warren stepped forward. 7,243. Madam President, A message came through on all Earth communication systems. The face of the Korathi fleet commander filled the screens. His silver skin shimmered with confidence. "Humans," the translated voice boomed. "Your time for decision has ended. We see you have chosen extinction. Submit now or face immediate destruction." President Martinez nodded to Alan. It was time. Alan pressed a button on the command console. "This is Commander Alan White of Earth. Before you take action, perhaps you should look around you." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden forces revealed themselves all at once. From behind the moon came Admiral Harrison's fleet, 500 advanced battleships moving in perfect formation. From Mars orbit, another 1,000 ships emerged from hidden bases. The asteroid belt seemed to come alive as mining stations transformed into heavily armed defense platforms. Around Jupiter, what had appeared to be simple gas-collecting stations suddenly activated shields and weapons. From Saturn's rings, stealth vessels appeared, having been hidden among the ice and rocks. And from Earth itself, thousands of ships rose into the sky. They ranged from small fast fighters to massive carriers larger than anything the Korathi had brought. Each one was armed with weapons the alien scouts had never detected. On the main screen, the Korathi commander's face showed an emotion humans had never seen before. His eyes shifted rapidly between colors, and his silver skin turned almost white. "Impossible," the alien said. "Our scouts reported primitive technology. Limited space travel. No advanced weapons." "Your scouts saw exactly what we wanted them to see," Alan replied calmly. "We've been watching the stars for centuries, preparing for this day." In space, the human fleet continued to grow as more ships arrived from hidden bases throughout the solar system. They took position around the Korathi fleet, which now looked small and isolated. Admiral Carla Johnson spoke from her flagship near Jupiter. "All units in position. The alien fleet is surrounded." In the command center, Dr. Olivia Grant studied the readings from the alien ships. "They're scanning us, trying to understand our technology." "They won't," Alan said. "Most of it has been classified beyond top secret for decades." On the screen, the Korathi commander seemed to regain some composure. "How is this possible? You showed us your military bases. We saw your weapons." "You saw what we wanted you to see," Alan explained. "Old bases, outdated weapons, while our real military remained hidden." "The scout reports," the alien said, almost to himself. "They were wrong." "Not wrong," Alan corrected. "Incomplete. Your scouts were very thorough, with what we allowed them to find." The alien fleet began to move, attempting to form a defensive position. But everywhere they turned, human ships blocked their path. The hunters had become the surrounded. President Martinez stepped forward. "This is the President of Earth. We didn't want this conflict. You came to our home and threatened us. But we are prepared to discuss peace, as equals, not as masters and slaves." The Korathi commander's eyes fixed on the president. "The Galactic Harmony has never negotiated with equals," Alan suggested. "Perhaps it's time to start." The Korathi commander requested a direct meeting with Earth's leaders. His ship, smaller than the massive human vessels now surrounding his fleet, landed at the United Nations Plaza where this conflict had begun 1 week earlier. Alan White stood with President Martinez as the alien commander walked down the ramp. Unlike the confident scouts who had arrived earlier, this Korathi moved with caution. His silver skin seemed duller, and his eyes fixed on the human ships visible in the sky above. "I am Fleet Commander Xal," the alien said through his translator. "I demand to know how this deception was accomplished." President Martinez kept her voice calm. "There was no deception, Commander. We simply didn't volunteer information about our full capabilities." Inside the UN building, Alan displayed holographic maps of the solar system. Red dots showed the Korathi fleet surrounded by thousands of blue dots representing human ships. "Your scouts made several critical mistakes," Alan explained. "They observed our public space program and assumed it represented our true capability. They saw civilian satellites and thought they were our best technology. Commander Xal's eyes shifted between colors, the limited weapons, the primitive propulsion systems, the divided nations competing with each other. All carefully maintained appearances, Alan said. After we detected signals from space in 1977, Earth's nations secretly united. We formed the Hidden Defense Initiative. While the public saw countries competing in a space race, we were actually working together. The aliens studied the holographic display showing human bases throughout the solar system. But our scans detected no advanced technology, no antimatter engines, no quantum shields. Dr. Olivia Grant stepped forward. We developed cloaking technology specifically designed to hide from the type of scans used by most spacefaring races. We've been studying deep space signals for decades. But the resources required, Commander Xal said, his voice showing clear disbelief. The coordination between nations. The secrecy. It should have been impossible. Nothing unites humans like a common threat, President Martinez replied. For once, our differences became less important than our survival. Outside, the skies above major cities worldwide were filled with human ships. People cheered as advanced fighters performed precision maneuvers. Giant screens showed the human fleet in space, surrounding the much smaller alien force. Admiral Carla Johnson reported from her flagship. The alien fleet is completely contained. They've powered down weapons and shields as requested. In orbit, the Korathi ships looked small and vulnerable compared to the massive human vessels that surrounded them. Ships from Chinese, American, Russian, and dozens of other nations' design philosophies moved in perfect coordination. Commander Xal seemed to struggle with this new reality. In 5,000 years of expansion, the galactic harmony has never encountered a species that hid its true capabilities so effectively. We had a strategic advantage you never considered, Alan explained. You assumed we were primitive because we appeared divided. But beneath the surface, we've been working as one. Your weapons, the alien said, pointing to the displays showing human technology. Some are more advanced than our own. We've had decades to prepare, Alan replied. Every nation contributed their best scientists and resources. When you're facing a possible invasion, you develop very quickly. Commander Xal's translator couldn't quite capture the tone in his voice. What happens now? President Martinez stood tall. Now we negotiate, as equals. The galactic harmony will respect Earth's independence and sovereignty. In return, we're open to peaceful trade and cultural exchange. And if we refuse? The alien asked. Alan pointed to the display showing the surrounded Korathi fleet. Look at the numbers, Commander. You have 300 ships. We have over 7,000. You're far from home with no reinforcements. We're defending our homeworld with everything we have. The message was clear without being a direct threat. Commander Xal was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke words that would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. The Harmony will need to reconsider its approach to Earth. 3 weeks had passed since the confrontation with the Korathi fleet. The skies above Earth were clear again, with most of the human ships returned to their hidden bases. Only a small defense force remained visible, a reminder of humanity's true power. In Geneva, Alan White adjusted his formal uniform as he prepared for the signing ceremony. After intense negotiations, Earth and the galactic harmony had reached an agreement that would change everything. Nervous? Asked Dr. Olivia Grant, who stood beside him in the waiting room. Ellen smiled. Not nervous. Just thinking about how close we came to war. Your plan worked perfectly, she said, showing them just enough to make them think they knew everything. It was humanity's plan, Alan corrected her, decades in the making. They entered the grand hall where representatives from Earth and the galactic harmony waited. Commander Xal stood with several other Korathi officials. Their silver skin gleamed under the lights, and their eyes shifted through colors as they watched the humans enter. President Martinez took her place at the center table. Today marks a historic moment, not just for Earth, but for the galaxy. Commander Xal stepped forward. The Harmony Council has approved the treaty. Earth will be recognized as a sovereign power, not a subject world. The room filled with applause as both leaders signed the document. Cameras flashed, recording the moment for billions of people watching around the world. Later that evening, Alan stood on the balcony of the Geneva building, looking up at the stars. Commander Xal joined him, moving silently on his long legs. "Your people have surprised us," the alien said. "In all our expansion, we never encountered a species that united in secret while maintaining the appearance of division." Alan nodded. "Humans are good at keeping secrets when we need to." "Too good," Xal admitted. "Our scouts will be retrained. Their failure to detect your true capabilities has changed our approach to new worlds." "Perhaps that's for the best," Alan suggested. "Respect is better than fear." The alien's eyes shifted to a deep blue color. "The Harmony Council is uncomfortable with your species. You hid your strength. You let us believe you were weak. This suggests a level of strategic thinking that concerns us. We did what was necessary to protect our world," Alan said simply. "Wouldn't you have done the same?" Before Xal could answer, Dr. Olivia Grant joined them with exciting news. "The Harmony Council has approved our request. 5 human ships will join their scientific expedition to the galactic core." This was what Alan had been working toward, humans taking their place among the stars not as subjects, but as equals. 1 month later, Alan stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Unity, watching as the blue planet shrank behind him. As Earth's ambassador to the galactic harmony, he would be the first human to visit their capital world. "Ambassador White," said the young officer beside him, "the Korathi escort ships are ready to jump to light speed." Alan nodded. "Signal our readiness, Lieutenant." As the ship prepared to make its first jump into deep space, Alan thought about the journey that had brought humanity to this moment. For centuries, humans had looked to the stars and wondered if they were alone. They had prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. In the end, it wasn't superior technology that had saved them from becoming slaves. It was humanity's greatest strength, the ability to work together while appearing divided. "Ambassador," the communications officer called. "Incoming message from Earth." On the screen appeared President Martinez. "Commander White, you carry with you the hopes of all humanity. Remember what we learned from this first contact." Alan smiled. "What's that, Madam President?" "That the greatest power isn't in our weapons," she said. "It's in our ability to surprise." As the stars stretched into lines of light around the ship, Alan knew that humanity's greatest adventures were just beginning. The universe was vast, full of wonders and dangers. But whatever waited out there, Earth was ready. Not as a primitive species begging for mercy, but as a united force that had earned its place among the stars.